TAC or even and that big. So.
And then they got 4th at TI, right?
Yeah. They went into TI as one of the favorites to win it, get at least top 3, and they got 4th, which was close to expectations.
But almost, I think they would have been quite disappointed with that back then when they were playing really, really well. So it's definitely a very capable team. We're going to be heading into the draft for the first match of this series. Team Spirit versus Vici Gaming. You know, just from some of the panelists' comments, yeah, both teams have got a lot to prove to us here. Maybe it does feel that way, but they certainly can, and they can still make a run through the group stage and finish 2nd place, which will put them in the upper bracket. But losing here in this best-of-3 series will put you bottom 4 going into the main event, and then you'll have to go through 2 best-of-1s before you even hit a best-of-3, and you have to play all the way through the lower until you end up in the grand final. So not a place where you want to be, and we're going to go and talk a little bit about now the banter picks. So take it away, guys. And Vengeful Spirit picked, and I think Cinderen's only happy about that because I think you put it in your most picked in your compendium. So.
As did I.
Yeah, I put it as my pinned tweet. That's where you found out.
Most picked.
Oh damn! You know, this is a trade that personally think you just don't give. I don't think this is a good opener.
For who?
Really?
Vici?
I think it's okay because
I think Vici have been giving away anything. They gave away Chen Lone Druid.
This is the exact same thing that Fnatic kind of just played. It was like Chen plus Lone Druid, you know, all that kind of stuff that pushes Vici. They're like, oh, we finally get the Vengeful Spirit. We can swap them hero in. They have Elder Titan. They have Winter Wyvern. They have a lot of tools at their disposal to stop this kind of. Oh.
But now that Spirit has seen that, they can ban them in 2nd phase.
Oh, and that's what Fnatic saw it game after game too. But and Fnatic tried to adjust. They banned the Winter Wyvern. They tried to adjust their bans.
They banned Phoenix, and
then they won.
Yeah, I was about to say. Then they won.
Well, yes. No. Game 2 they lost.
No, I'm saying from game 1 to game 2.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's the thing. I really disagreed with you guys when you were talking about game 1's draft was better against the Fnatic lineup. I thought their supports were much better in game number 2, just because Winter Wyvern is
I thought it was
out of the patch. It's way better to be able to stop that momentum at tier 1 towers than wait till they try and go high ground.
In Sunray.
Yeah, I mean, what's Sunray really going to do, though? It pulls the creeps off of the tower, but it doesn't actually kill the creep wave.
The new Wyvern is just so much better against Chen than the old one, because the creeps can actually kill a hero when he's level 7. You just curse someone, and those creeps with 50% attack speed, I think they deal about like 500 or 600 damage during the Winter's Curse, and the AoE is really good, so... I think Spirit might actually should consider banning at least that one, or the Elder Titan that they made work. But the reason it was so good was the combination, right? It was that they had both together to stop them. The synergy between them, I want to say was mainly picked for the Lone Druid more so than the Chen, or at least because they were in combination, because both of them have percentage-based damage. Or sorry, the Wyvern has percentage-based damage from the, what's it called, Arctic Burn, and then the Elder Titan with the Aura. So there's a lot of amplification that comes out from it, and percentage-based damage on the ultimate too, which I guess also... To go back to what I was going to say in the start, if you look at this opening, I just think there are so many teams, at least in the Western scene, that would be all over this trade. You guys can have Venge, we take Chen Prophet. You secure yourself a disruptive offlaner in the Prophet. That, in turn, should allow your Chen to jungle fairly freely, because they have to commit support to being in Prophet's lane. And it opens up. I'm curious to see what Vici will do against it. At least they have practice now.
Spirit are going global.
I'm with Cinderen on this. I think the Chen Nature's Prophet is a better opening, but I am not a big fan of Wisp being run with Chen. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I totally agree. It's very, very weak support. You have no laning presence whatsoever, and you already have Avenge, Morphling, and Morphling not amazing laning here, but they draft wide open. They can bully Team Spirit in the laning stage, or they can go super greedy and not get punished.
The form, like, they can't run around that much early, but the amount of sustain and like being able to end the game at 25-3, I think the heroes offer a lot of potential, as well as just being very early.
Spirit, when they played their second game against Alliance, they went Wisp CK as their first 2 into Alliance's Prophet, and now that they get the choice to get it themselves, they in that game they ran a Zeus, which this banned by Vici, but Prophet can somewhat play the same role of having like that global ultimate to give them the last bit of damage they need. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them get the CK. I think that hero is actually really good against Morphling too. I think a lot of damage. And
I think that CK as a pair to the Wisp is better than against Morphling. Tiny does offer that instant initiation.
They're good at different things. I don't think you can just say one is better. Tiny is a better replicate, so there's that. But Chaos Knight has, I would say, a lot more to offer earlier in the game. Just when you get Phantasm level 2. Yeah, there you go.
I don't think either necessarily like counters the Morphling as like a carry-on-carry kind of matchup. You're going like a carry to counter Morphling type hero or something that's going to steal his stats, mana void from an anti-mage. Yeah.
The thing CK can do is if he uses Phantasm, especially if it procs an extra illusion, then he can force Morphling into Strength Morph really, really early. So he loses his damage in the fight, and oftentimes that's good enough. You don't need to kill the hero, you just need to negate it.
Yeah, and when you're offering physical damage as well, if you're going to more strength, then you're armor, which makes that physical all the more viable. It will make the Lincolns much more valuable in this pickup for the Morphling. I really like this Tidehunter.
That is super good. That is such a good pick right now. Ken doesn't have that much laning presence as we talked about, or actually, at least he doesn't want to be there so much. He wants to farm a bit in the start. IO does very little to Tide, and CK... This lane for them is difficult to kill. Prophet is a little bit of a wild card.
What do you guys think about the Crystal Main as the pickup against the Chen? But we have other supports that are still left in the pool that are valid counters to both Prophet and Chen. What are the main ones do you like? Doctor?
I think Witch Doctor is probably a little bit better. But
Even good against the IO relocate the CK in some ways. So.
Yeah.
Worse against Chen, but it's better for all the other.
It synergizes, the Tide and the Morph are two heroes that benefit a lot from the aura game.
I think, is this just because Vici Gaming, like, what is the Crystal Main to offer you that those heroes do not, like the Winter Wyvern and Witch Doctor? Is it purely just the greediness of jungling?
Greediness of jungling in the aura?
A lot of teams will want to match the greediness of a Chen with a. We've seen Iron Ice Stalkers, we've seen Enigmas, Sand Kings coming out from Vici. The hero Doctor you can't play as greedy.
The hero I would have liked more than the CM that we've seen quite a few teams do, EG especially against the IO, is the Enigma. I'm surprised. I'm maybe not surprised Vici don't known for it, but I feel like in general it's just a better, greedier option than a CM if you.
I'm actually more surprised they didn't take the Invoker in the first place, because we've seen Supers, Quad Swipe Invoker just stop pushes and by that one hero, and you don't have to draft like. Very clear as to what likes to play very upbeat tempo. They have a lot of early games. They have a lot of tower plays. And extremely good.
5 seconds remaining.
Sinrin, when you were watching Team Spirit's game, obviously I didn't get the chance to. How is Ramses doing? Because for me, he's the linchpin for Spirit. They rise and fall with.
He did very well with CK in the CK game. He was 7-1 and 7, and then they just lost the game right after that. He was super farmed.
I shouldn't say actually rise and fall. I think they only rise with Ramses. Ramses will perform, and the rest of the team lifts.
Sounds like a player Navi should poach then.
Exactly. 14 member.
Historically, there is only one poacher in the CIS scene. Oh, Wind Ranger. Okay. This is not really what I was expecting. I was thinking, I think I've made it very clear at this tournament so far that I'm a big fan of Puck in this version. I think it would have been great catch that sets up the relocate. It's great with Prophet, and I think it would have been good against the squishy support of Vici Gaming Crystal Main. Doesn't scale so well, but if you look at Spirit's lineup, I don't think they want to go super late game.
Well,
anyway.
like the first 4 picks, like you could just imagine like this is like an alliance draft. What would the alliance be like last pick? It'd be a bat or a Puck for the mid lane, for example, and they'd go for more the tempo controlling aspect.
The good thing about Wind Ranger is that she actually has heavy single target damage when she gets farmed. That can again force Morphling into defensive play.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that Team Spirit seem to have this thing about directed physical.
Right, and Ember to finish off Vici Gaming. So I'm going to turn to both the couches. Couch number 2 first, which is you, Cap, and Gods. In agreement, who is going to win and why?
You didn't give Spirit a chance. Still, seeing the.
I think they have back the Wind Ranger, one that didn't scale.
So you know, Ben's probably right the most. on this couch.
Have I been wrong yet?
Anyone.
Anyone ever? And that's probably not true.
Maybe.
Have you been wrong on this couch yet?
I honestly, I can't remember. I forget failures very quickly.
But were you on couch 2 or couch 1 when you were correct?
I was on that couch yesterday. This couch sucks.
Yeah,
it did until
I'm
now.
going with Spirit. We're going with Spirit.
All right, we'll go with Spirit. I trust Ben.
If we fail,
while we're on camera.
You can blame the couch if you fail.
Yeah.
Right. So Vici Gaming for couch 2, Spirit for couch 1. We'll be going into the game momentarily, where we'll join our commentators. And yeah, I obviously have no opinion. I just go off the pros and cons. And I don't know which is better for which, and the game is paused. But I just enlighten.
Super Duper or Goblack.
But I can tell you this though. Just to give you some really good insight, that Team Spirit very serious about this tournament and rules. So much so that Always Wanna Fly was outside his tournament area earlier, and he asked admins for help, and because there was he was just like, I want Bruno, and they were like, okay. And then Bruno came over to Team Spirit, and Always Wanna Fly asked him, can I go to the bathroom? Bruno replied, yes. So these guys, they're taking this serious. That's the rules, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why he needed Bruno to tell him. It was so surreal. It was one of my favorite stories so far of the tournament. It's like, I need Bruno to tell me. And they had to go and find Bruno.
Bruno was like, no.
Bruno just...
He just popped his head. Bruno just like popped his head.
I didn't hear this. I didn't hear the story from Bruno. I actually heard it from another player. But these guys are serial, and I do believe the commentators...
Go needs Bruno right now, so... There we go.
We have no sound.
It's not against the rules playing without sound. Just...
It's not a rule issue.
Is he gonna backstroke?
A lot of
that. He always does.
He always backstroke?
He always backstroke.
This team looks really fancy.
Yeah? That horns?
We're actually going to wait on...
Morphling has horns?
Probably in some new bloom
with the new cosmetic. Yeah.
Do you not keep up with that? Are you not a Dota 2 supporter?
I am. Do you not support esports?
How do you not have every hat? Morphling has horns. Today I learned.
I mean, he's kind of like waveform, so you could just like make water be horns, be anything.
They weren't water.
You can make them look like they aren't water. You can change to anything. Bro, that's his lore. Cinder, you don't even embrace the lore.
Do you read the lore, Cinder? Have you ever read anything in the Dota 2 lore?
Have you ever read anything?
Evidently not.
A little bit, but actually not that much.
I've heard him read Danish Harry Potter on stream.
Oh, really?
That was great.
Then.
So you prefer Harry Potter over Dota 2?
It was the best moment of that BTS production.
Probably, yeah. That's
the best moment in the history of it.
Probably.
Well, I'm still thinking about those horns. I can't stop thinking about them now. Worrying.
Have you seen some of the new bloom sets? They are a bit out there.
For some reason, I feel like it's less weird the Lena set that had like the ram horns than Morphling having horns. There's just something about Morphling having horns that doesn't make sense to me. He's water.
But he's wearing a hat.
He's wearing that crown makes more sense.
Or an animal.
See, this is the problem with being with Ben on the panel. He doesn't let go. He pushes you until you give up. And it's like, ha!
He's like, ha! You think horns work on Morphling? Idiot. Everyone knows that's not a cosmetic. I mean, if you read his lore. I wish I knew more about lore. It's Action Slack knows quite a lot about lore. Is that the lore
pointing at Cap?
Oh, it's kind of fun to read.
Like Dragon Flags back there. Like,
you guys know him better than me.
Secretly at the meet.
You worked with him. I was God's your BTS summit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
Didn't
a
talk much lore with him.
You didn't. What do you talk
Lore
about?
talk.
If not lore.
That's not a very good conversationalist, apparently.
Fair enough. Great having you on the panel, then.
Lead us, wise James.
I do this a lot when people look at me. I actually kind of like to counter it and just make it even more awkward, because sometimes I've been on panels where when I ask a question, everybody answers one by one, and then they just stop. Like, there's not really a conversation. It's just like my answer, and now it's your turn, and then they just stare at me, and I just like stare back at them. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. Yeah, because I'm just like. It's like host chicken or something. You know what I mean? It's like a chicken game on panel. Like, yeah, I can hold this silence longer than you. It's like, I'm not worried about. I'm already washed up. I'm taking you down with me. You know, worst panel ever. Picture of all of us, and I'd be like, yeah, welcome to my world. I'll be hosting Overwatch.
Staring down the panel.
Already. Yeah, so hopefully they get their audio issue. Yeah, so I don't know, have you guys been enjoying China? I've hung out with some people, and that was nice. It's good to see everybody again. Bumped into LD at breakfast. There's a lot of weight. Which is
him or
cool.
you?
Yeah, well, him actually, yeah, which is a little bit of coincidental, because when I left the Dota scene, I kind of wished I'd see less of him. Wasn't exactly what I had in mind. But
Somehow this is gonna go from him flaming LD to him flaming Eternal Envy. I'm not sure, the loop just always continues with James. He just has certain people in mind.
He's still not convinced.
Years of playing in top tier. I still can't get over that. Still not convinced. Years of playing.
Oh, that's kind of like Blitz. Blitz is like, oh yeah, it was terrible. How it's like, it's been all 5 TIs. How can you think he's terrible? Blitz is like, I just think he's awful.
I'm just not sold on Eternal Envy. Not sold.
Actually has.
Who is sold on Eternal Envy? Like, who would want Eternal Envy in their team?
Do it right now.
My team's just terrible. I wouldn't want to bring him down.
That's such a cop-out answer. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't dislike the guy at all. I speak to him one-on-one. He's very nice. He seems to, like, you know, his drive and his thing is like almost like hates the game, or, you know, really wants it. You know, he's so invested. And the, you know, rise or fall is very entertaining to watch him. But I just like, I believe on a team you want these people that just seem stable.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking
predictable.
No, not stable as in gameplay stable. Just
So he's saying he's an unstable person.
I'm saying that he's maybe too invested in Dota 2. Okay?
You're right. I've heard that about athletes. You need to make sure they're not too invested into their sport.
Well, just not like that. Just in the sense of, like, you know, you don't, like, you know, hate the game, or, you know what I mean? It's, you know, you work on yourself in terms of, you know, it's not about that. It's more an internal investment. Like, I want to be this good, and, you know, but I don't know. Hey, say what you will, I'm just not sold. They're not going to win this tournament because of him. Guaranteed. I'm just going to throw it out there now to make it work.
If they win the tournament, we come back to the final panel. What are you gonna be? They did win because of him, not because of Jackie.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
I think secret win it is because of him. Is the crazy thing, because of the way he is. The only secret winning is going to be because of Envy going insane.
Okay, yeah, and he does go, yeah, he can go ham.
But
you have to do it through the whole tournament, not a game.
Well, so far they're in the Windows bracket without him going ham. So I know.
Just wait till he starts going.
But
ham,
Puppy was the standout player for that series of Secret. Hey, I mean, I don't know why you even like let me give you opinions. I don't know shit. I haven't watched Dota for a rather long period of time. But you're all still here, so it couldn't have changed that much.
Is that we started this like 2 or 3 minutes ago. It's like it just kind of threw it out there, and James just continued the circle down and down and down.
You're a good host. You got a good answer.
Thank you. It's good. Set him up nicely. That's fine.
would you prefer him stare at you?
Yeah, that's the alternative.
One of the two.
I think Swindles is gonna win. I just think, there's something about, you know, that guy, very stable, really on point and dedicated. I was a bit upset.
But they're -4 on here.
I was a bit upset, right? Actually, no, he's not going to win, right? I'll be honest with you, because when I asked him to call out the player that he really wanted to beat, he didn't, and that's fear. Think you need to if you just want to be like, I'm going to win, because like normally when like if I say like I'm gonna like I want to take you on and I want to beat you, I don't have to say I hate you or whatever, right? I just be like, I want that match, and I'm going to get it. And then when you kind of put on the spot, and if I don't want to say it, it's because I don't want other people knowing in case I fail. So it's like a scared of failure thing. Yeah. So
You
I
really
think
need
the
to let
fact
it out
that,
so the whole universe knows about
yeah, sure. Be like, no, because it's not like the opinion on the person. It's just like, that's, I'm gunning for this team. We're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. I really want to play versus that player. You can say like, I really want to play versus that player, and I think that person's amazing, at the game, and I want to beat him. And I'm going to beat him.
Or you might think that person's terrible at the game and you can't believe they won a TI, Just completely theoretically speaking here.
Yeah, but, so I think that,
that's a good theory.
Fear. So I've written complexity off as well. And that's all I remembered. Who else?
Who's next on James's list?
Complexity and eternal envy. Not secret, just eternal envy is pretty much. Yeah.
Secret.
It's like, it doesn't matter which
write a
team
blog
he's
about
on.
me.
He's basically saying whatever team Envy's on cannot win.
Yeah, I just wouldn't ever put him on my team.
Well, he
And
got
I've
a
never
lot.
played with him.
He got
I've
a lot
never
of
played
second
with him,
places.
right?
He got a lot of second.
And this is coming from the guy who put together the Keypad Red Panda.
Red Pandas
Take whatever you
was
want. Take
the
what you-
future.
So,
I had everything.
I don't trust what you
Jerix,
say about making
hey,
cheese.
did you hear about Jerix before he played for Keypad Red Pandas?
Yeah, he was playing Earth Spirit in pubs.
Because he was on the Keypad Red Pandas. And Keypad Red Pandas before Earth Spirit. Like, we predate Earth Spirit, Keypad Red Pandas. So you're wrong.
That sounds like a really legendary organization. Or Earth Spirit.
The only problem is with Keypad Red Pandas was that Wagamama was meant to be captain, and I think at the time, he turned into Sing's bottom bitch.
What exactly is that?
You've never heard of this term?
I don't think so. Not using this way.
But, he's on the rise, Wagamama, so it's all good, and he's,
That was the only problem.
yeah, that was it. Everything else was perfect.
I will go back to going
Logo,
back to Jerix,
perfect.
actually. I will just say I think Jerix is actually. I think he's really impressive.
I mean, look at
We're going to get
MVP.
to see him play on what day is it? What day we're going to get to
Really?
see?
That's a lot.
I think it was Swindle. Swindle's mid and
That's-
off lane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mid and off lane are like night and day.
Which group was Liquid in?
in the EG Complexity VT group.
Do you think Jerix can win?
Yeah,
He
Jerix
believes
is,
in him.
the thing is, like, Jerix on a team, he's absolutely top tier player that you would want on literally any team. He's really good communication. He's fantastic to kind of get on with. He works very hard. He resolves conflicts. Socially fantastic, and he plays at a super high level. Great mechanically. There's nothing you can say about Jerix which is like you wouldn't want to play with him.
He's
And-
Finnish.
I think that he likes a little bit of. I think.
But
that
that he,
like building up with team. But one thing to add to that list is. And that's oftentimes, I think, what limits
some players.
More mechanically, like there are certain players out there that are incredibly mechanically strong, but haven't been able to make their way onto it. Most of the time, that's because of
Not
ego
support
and failure
stuff,
to be able to work within it.
I mean, as far as ego goes, I feel like some level, not maybe less ego, but arrogance is essential to be the best at what you have to have such. You look at so many of the top teams, and some of them can be kind of arrogant or at least really cocky. It's like a necessary trait in some ways to be successful.
I don't.
Well,
I feel like
I
you
think
talk about Jerix normally plays like you mentioned, like he's really good social, like he's a great person to have in the team. But you also need some of the. You can't have 5 players who are like that. You need some people who are super driven
Yeah,
and believe
I-
they're better than everyone. You need
Yeah,
your
you do. But I-
Arteezies or whatever on your team.
Yeah,
Like,
but then you can counter a lot of arrogance with just like someone who's just really smart, who's not who's like, I think this person is better than me at this, and this when you play against them. But you're like, okay, so how do I get the best of them? Without saying like, oh, I'm such a smart player, but it's like, how do I, reduce their advantage when we go into the next conflict, knowing that they are so good, and just being aware how good sometimes the other opponent is. you do change the way that you play, and you can actually pull them into situations where you go, oh, they're really, really arrogant, they're, or confident, maybe. They would probably go for this kill. Let's bring them in, and
That's God Black.
I can see what God
That's
is saying,
God Black.
That's God
There
Black.
are certain players, like, they're at that all-star status. That kind of confidence kind of drives them, and what leads them to be able to make that kind of, yes, I can make this next, go for it. But
and young
natural
players
is
often,
S4.
young players often do that a little bit as well. Just just go for stuff almost through like inexperience, because they believe they don't have enough kind of like data, if you can say, like on the situation. So they actually go, yeah, I can do that, right? And then because they go in with this confidence of, yeah, I can do it, they actually come out like winning that moment, and everyone's like, what? How did this happen? And normally as players kind of get older and they play more, they go like, I've got like, it's kind of not in my favor just by a few percent. I shouldn't take that risk. And if they do go in knowing that it's risky, they often might hesitate or maybe not pull off the kill. But I think Syndrome, you're the most recent pro gamer and still pro gamer. So where would you fit yourself in?
I think I would put myself with what you said, mainly. So not the arrogance, but more of the trying to approach, more analytical. So you look at what are your strengths, what are their strengths, what are the weaknesses, and then try to find the loopholes, rather than just being like, yeah, this is what they're really good at, but we're better than them at their good traits, and trying to beat them at that, then rather play to your own strengths and their weaknesses.
So you've been in lanes, or had situations where you're very aware of there's a player here that's a big problem, and we should be very, very careful and try and play, not give them what they're good at.
There are like multiple ways of doing it, right? The one is that you someone is really, really good at whatever they're playing, and then you try to counter them, or the alternative is they're so good in that role that you focus on the other things, and then you deal with the problem later because you've built enough of an advantage elsewhere that you can overcome that in the end. But like you said, the most important thing is the awareness. I do think regardless of how arrogant or how good you are as a team, you always can't go into matches without respecting the opponent at all. Like, if you need to have the right balance between confident in yourself, but also, the best teams in the world don't go in without analyzing their opponents. Like, for example, when EG won TI, a big part of it is the preparation work. Respect the enemy team's drafts, you ban their good picks, for example. Trait of an arrogant team would be going against an opponent, just giving them all their best picks and just beating them over and over again, being like, you just take whatever you want as long as we get ours, it's fine.
I don't think there's any team like that here, though.
No.
Who's like, everyone's very respectful of each other. But I think on some maybe individual player base, where they're not involved maybe as much in the draft, they're just like, I am awesome and
it's more like players thinking like they're the best carry or they're the best mid or whatever, like thinking they're better than their opponent in lane. They're still going to do the team as a whole may do the preparation, but some people just knowing, or at least thinking they know that they're better than their opponent, and if anything, that helps them outplay their opponent in lane.
So I'm interested, so that's got like Samel, RTZ, and Eternal Envy, right? And we need to kind of explain to people at home these players. And I know we're waiting for the Vici Gaming, as you just see, versus it's been so long, Team Spirit. We've got Samel, RTZ, Eternal Envy. How good are they compared to each other? And how good do you think they approach the game in terms of their confidence and how good do you maybe think they are? How good do they think they are?
I think outwardly they're very confident, but that's what they show to the world. But they play so much Dota. If you were that confident, it's like, I don't even need to practice. I don't need to play pubs. I don't need to train the hero that everyone else is training.
Yeah, none of them have that, right?
None of them have that. So it's not like the utmost arrogance. I think outwardly it may seem like that way.
But who for you is go on then, list them in terms of who do you think's best?
I think Envy's the most analytical of the three as far as the way he looks at the game. He theory crafts a lot more. He'll try and he maybe sometimes tries to do these. He gets called out for doing these weird questionable plays because he's got this idea in his mind. Sometimes it works and looks amazing, other times it completely backfires, whereas Arteezy and Samel are just the more kind of mechanically sound, stable players in a lot of ways. I think as maybe Arteezy probably the flashiest of the three, and has Arteezy at his best, I think is maybe, I don't know, it's hard to compare an Arteezy versus Samel. They kind of play different roles now in EG, but
at their absolute peak, at their best, you think?
I would say Arteezy.
Currently, and what about Eternal Envy?
Sumel's still only been playing competitive Dota 2 for a year and a half or something. so it's still kind of too safe for him. But I think
Because these are huge players for this tournament. I mean, I've said, like, Eternal Envy, I would just be scared to have him on my team, but you're also like, yeah, but if a secret win, a lot of it's going to come down to Eternal Envy. So, how easy do you think it is
think
for these players to be
crafts-
at their best?
Eternal Envy theory crafts a lot, but sometimes it's just on the wrong thing. Concentrates way too much on like the small things that don't actually win games instead of the big picture, and he gets caught up theory crafting just, I don't want to say useless, but they're trivial enough that your time would be better spent elsewhere, and maybe this is why he hasn't reached.
So you'll get to draft a player for your team, right? You're all now pro gamers.
Yep.
And you get to pick one of these players. Who is it that you first draft for your team? TZ?
Yeah.
Take our TZ.
Melanie?
Yeah, I would too.
I think it's
Okay.
I mean, it's very close with
Yeah.
Sunel.
Right, now you have to pick a captain. Like someone who drafts.
Out of those three?
No. Out of anyone in this tournament.
Anyone in this tournament? Oh god,
Who is the best captain? Who do you want?
I would pick S4.
Oh,
Really? Why?
are we playing on this patch, or which patch are we
I
playing?
mean,
on
I'm not talking. Maybe he's a coach, right? Maybe he doesn't get to play. He broke his fingers. He was playing so much Dota. That doesn't happen. Keep playing Dota, kids. You'll love it. But yeah, like just the mind. You would like, because S4 obviously plays amazing as well.
Wait, so the only perspective now is drafting?
Yeah.
And nothing else? That's
Nothing
the only
else.
thing we're talking
Yeah.
about? Okay.
Who do you bring in to draft?
Because then you have different. Because I was
Yeah,
thinking
the
more in
main
terms of like
candidates,
team synergy.
Yeah. Because
You
S4
got
can
PPD,
do amazing
you got
things in
Puppy,
game.
You got S4, and then for the Chinese scene, you've got, well, in the past, Lanham was one. He's not drafting anymore. Zhao Wei's not here. Otherwise, I'd maybe go with him.
I think I'll say PPD.
Yeah. Agree? No one disagree there?
In-game
I think it's like
captain,
tied with
S4.
Puppy, actually.
Like
I think they're tied.
100%. That is like one of those players that you're talking about all stars and like arrogance and confidence and how this kind of goes hand in hand. That's like one of the where he is such a nice guy, so well spoken, excellent person to have in game. Work with.
It was PPD for your Dota mind with your
drafting,
team,
yeah.
and Melanie, and then Cinderin.
I guess it's boring if we all pick the same, right?
You can.
I'll take
I
Puppy
mean,
because for me it's
Well,
like tied
even
between.
before when
PPD
they
and
were
Puppy,
saying
so.
S4, I was thinking I would maybe say PPD over S4, even if they were a player as well. But so I was going to go with PPD, and I think like who else to consider, but I think PPD as far as your drafting goes, maybe be the probably.
I think the thing is that the reason that we're all siding on person with individual parts of what a captain. These three different captains, they're strongest in three different elements. Obviously, like none of us can really
wind,
know.
and fire.
Sort of like that, yeah. But I think like we pretty much all agree, like PPD is the drafter, right? Because we feel like PPD is those like.
I think he's
He'll always be able to find
absolutely
a way.
amazing. I'm one of the biggest reasons that EG has come to where it is. Absolutely, and I think a lot of what the DI was for me was watching Puppy play versus PPD in that absolute mindset. You know, that was like so interesting to see who was getting the better of it. And I think those two are titans when it comes to actually being able to draft and lead the team.
And then they both had their star players, so it wasn't like you had two great minds where one guy was stacked with a couple star players, the other guy had like a good, consistent team who played well with the team. They both had their star players. They both kind of came in as like really strong team units, and one fell apart. The other stuck together.
Well, yeah, so finish your point.
I was just gonna say, like PPD as a drafter, like S4 is the kind of captain that you like. They want to be able to work with. That you know that you'll naturally have like that kind of friendship and work and that sort of thing. So nice and doesn't have to go. But like then Puppy as a whole, I think is just like one of those strong leaders. And I think that's like the three individual elements that make up a captain. And I think captains excel, and it's.
I think that's the thing about S4 is a really good point because that's like the whole idea of Alliance almost. Like it's, I think he's the centerpiece, and they're the only team that constantly present themselves as a family. Like they put so much weight on their friendship, and yeah, granted EGM has been off the team, but the rest of the other four players have been playing together for like 3 years straight. Whereas you see a team like Secret or teams with Puppy in general are a little bit more they go through more changes. And I think EG would have as well if they didn't have the success they do. It's the success that keeps that team together. And the moment they feel like something is going to halt their success, they make changes. AUI 2000 after TI5 got replaced. They were champions of a tournament. He got replaced because he didn't fit.
Alliance didn't play with the same other one.
yeah.
They S4 also left the team for a while.
Yeah,
there was
I
a
don't
period
agree
where
with that.
Bulldog wasn't playing for the team, so I don't think it's fair to. I don't think it's. I'm just kind of minor correction.
Okay, so that's true.
It wasn't just EGM who
I
left
think
the team.
yeah, it's true. It's not just EGM, but how do I explain it? So the players relative to others have been more bound to each other than others have. Like
They remained a
they had
family after they broke up.
They had remained a family after they broke up, and they had like their small side adventures, but they came back together. I can't remember, like there wasn't that the same thing with other players.
I feel like
or
their
duos,
secret with
right?
S4 wasn't like a small side venture. That was like a big stage of. If you look at S4's career, there's winning TI with Alliance, then there's joining Secret, becoming the best team in the world with Secret, and now there's going back to Alliance, yet to be proven the best team. So I feel like the Secret stage for S4 is almost as important as the Alliance stage.
It's more about, for me, it's more about like the time span, not what they accomplished, but how long it lasted. How long was the Secret with us for? Half a year? A little bit more, maybe?
More than half a year. It'd be closer to like 9-10 months.
I don't know. I feel like my argument isn't as strong as it was, so I would agree with that. But it's still, if you compare it to other players, I guess like Loda and Ake have been playing together for, apart from Zenith, they've played for like 7 years or 8 years straight, so they're like almost inseparable. And what's happening?
Oh no, I'm just kind of internally laughing because you know, the game was paused for so long that production were like, hey, you can go to a break if you go to break, and then we'll come straight back into the game. And but because I was really interested in what you guys were talking about and didn't want to go to a break, I kind of ignored them, so they were freaking out and kept talking to me. And then eventually, until someone come in and changed my batteries, and they're like, can you hear me now? And I'm like, we're not going to a break. I'm in charge. But yeah, apparently
let's
the
move
game,
on though.
Mad with power.
mad with power.
Is that what you're...
Yeah, and I'm also too good. So it's 2 points to me, 0 points to production here. I'm getting one up, but they're doing a really good job back there, keeping us informed. And hopefully, yeah, I do believe we just got told that the game should be getting resumed. Thanks a lot for all the conversation. It was very fun. All I had to do to get that started was just blame people that are going to write blogs about me, and then you guys started having an opinion. But you know, we all know I'm done for after this event anyway. So yeah, hopefully I just back and chill, wait for the game. Like with friends, Indran, hanging out on a couch, got a TV with thousands of people watching us.
Is that what friends do, watch themselves on TV?
Well, we're not meant to watch ourselves on TV, admittedly. We're watching us
There's
on
just
TV.
a big picture of James's head. That actually seems like something James would do. Watch TV.
Yeah, I was like, hey guys, come round to my house. Hey, look at this. Too Good versus Zalma. Oh, look how I was 24 when this was on. You guys know I casted World of Warcraft? I've got a video of it. Yeah, that's what I do when I bring friends over. No one comes over anymore though. Weird.
Yeah,
I
coincidence.
think it's something to do with the weather. Sweden,
Bruno
very snowy. Bruno was out of there.
Like, no more.
Yeah. That's not what I do.
We're all skeptics.
Gonna stare at him again? What's the play?
Yeah, let's just all stare at James until he just
I'll stare
goes
back at
down
you.
another rant.
No, I'm good.
Then production's gonna think we're on break.
Yeah,
No one's saying anything for like 30
I
seconds.
feel like
Just looking
the five of us would be willing to have a long enough awkward silence that production would get confused first and just go to a break.
and then I'll go change all our batteries.
Me and Joe Miller used to do the thing because we're hilarious. Where you come on live and then you start miming. And you're like, ah. A classic 2005 joke. We can bring that back. Great. And ourselves. I mean, when you work at ESL, what are you gonna do?
All right, that's the
Germans
next shot.
loved it.
Next talking point.
Anybody else you'd like to blame, James?
No.
I almost feel like this is more therapy, like we're four therapists sitting down. James, tell us about your problems. Tell us about who's causing you problems in your life.
Probably just me. I think I'm the biggest problem.
Then you've come to the right place.
This is
I
too
guess.
deep.
Yeah. And I think it all goes back to my father. I had one. And I call you Daddy, Cap. How's
That's later tonight.
How's Toby doing? I want to make this as weird as possible. Just for the sake of... How's Toby doing? You alright? How's your significant other?
I think Toby's my significant other?
I think
you have not been keeping up on your Dota memes lately at all.
Pin different
Who's
tweets
your
then.
significant other?
Sorry, don't you know? Blitz
No.
left Purge. It was a huge scandal, and then we hooked up.
Amazing.
The new duo.
How's LD? God?
Now, they've been faithful for a long time. You ever have
He
to
cracked
shake
a
things
smile.
up a little bit?
He cracked a smile. I think you won that.
I think God is done with this panel. Right, Ben.
I don't want to look at him.
Who's-
He didn't even ask me.
Who's kind of your, Dota half? Can't be Cinderin. You can't.
No.
All right.
Huh? It was worth.
Oh, were you saying
Oh,
here?
Why would you pick?
Isn't it Jacob?
Yeah, I guess it would be Jacob.
Jacob.
That would
It's
be my
Jacob.
pick.
Jacob. Cinderin?
How's Jacob doing? You can't just let him off. He has to answer.
You
said-
said. You
Yeah,
said it
but-
was Malk, right?
Yeah. You ask
Yeah.
him how's he doing.
Huh?
He can't just pick
He doesn't
one.
actually
Yeah,
care.
I'm kind of upset that Malk isn't here, really, to be honest. I mean, we did actually ask him to come, Jacob, Malk, Reek, or whatever his name is now. But he said that when he saw the panel lineup, he thought it was a bit of sausage. He wouldn't fit in. Don't know what that means.
In contrast to all the previous panels
Yeah.
he's been on that have been just as much sausage fest.
But
Have you seen his
Jacob,
doppelganger? He has like there's this like actress. Oh.
these are some highlights from earlier on, but we can just talk.
Oh, I was like, oh
we can
crap.
just talk
I
over
was like
this.
5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Who's your Dota?
So-
Who's your Dota 2 significant other? Cinderin.
I have no idea.
I mean, isn't it Toby?
Yeah, it's-
But like that's also Caps, kind of.
No.
I think.
I'm gonna shut that down right now.
Well, who is yours?
Told you.
Who was it?
He said Blitz.
Blitz.
So his
Oh yeah.
Mine has got to be Sven with that logic.
Yeah.
So if you can change to Blitz because of recent events, then Toby and I obviously go way back with casting, but Sven and I have been.
Man, mine's I guess Bruno.
What's he doing?
I think he's doing fine. But when we used to play Dota, we used to shout at each other a lot. Or he used to shout at me. There was like no trust in
Mommy
this,
and daddy
in this
fighting.
Dota relationship. It was kind of like we were playing games, and he micromanages me. Tells me to stun, like when I'm on Nyx, when someone's running away, and the only thing I need to do is stun. He's like, and stun him now, and do this now, and do this. And it's just like, it got...
I could see you being the kind of person
I do need a
in
lot
that
of
kind of
freedom.
relationship. Yeah.
Is that why you started picking Silencer?
I don't really, yeah, because he couldn't tell me to do anything on the hero because it does nothing. He's like, press R, and I'm like, cool down, bitch. That kind of double joke. Yeah, so these were games earlier today in Group B, and we'll be seeing Vici playing next. And we probably could go to a break while we wait, but there's been rumors the game might be ready.
There's just a lot of weird things about Vici's play. Like they lined up for so many double stuns and people just getting away nonstop. It was just teamwork and chemistry. You need Bruno telling them exactly what to do.
Every team needs a Bruno.
Do you guys think Phoenix is suddenly as good as the teams are making it out to be based on
Sunray.
draft
Well,
order?
well,
So the teams who are picking him, as good as I wouldn't say that he was quite good. The teams who are picking him, they've currently finished they've been losing all their games because it's been eHome, it's been CDC, no CDC less. So eHome, the main team who's been picking him.
I think across all of eHome's games, that was their consistently worst performance was on Phoenix. Like I think they just didn't play the hero very well. It's like they
I will say right
didn't
now
have very
that
good synergy with it.
Phoenix is definitely being picked up for a very big reason. There has been like a lot of time before this event actually started where teams were forming against each other and such. That there are very clear strengths to this hero as a support position with the Sunray Max build that we're right now. It's a lot of early team fight potential. That's what this meta is all about, right? We're seeing like so much of the team who moves the fastest wins. That Phoenix really fits in. his level 1 potential is off the chart when you just look at damage. Purely level 1 Sunray.
Since you guys are like good at Dota and all that jazz, allegedly, I want to ask, like, because there's a lot of teams here in this one, we've got 16, and you guys all play somewhat specific roles. I think, Cap, you played a lot of off-lane to get where you are. Gods, what did you play? Was it support?
Yeah, full
Position. Millennia, you were mid?
Playing what?
When you played Dota, like, you play a lot of mid?
I played solo, whatever. Solo mid or
solo jungle with Iron Talon.
And Cinder, and you played support, right?
Get where I am MMR-wise? No, I played offlane.
Okay, but when you were like playing Dota professionally, you were a support captain.
Me,
for a while.
I've played support most. I played mid in the start of Dota 2, and then I played mostly support.
Right. So, there's a new rule at this tournament, okay? Basically, if someone from a team becomes sick, right, from the 16 teams here, right, if someone becomes sick, they're allowed to be replaced by a panelist. And they can only be replaced by the panelists that we have here right now. All right.
That's unfortunate.
So it's quite unfortunate. But you get to choose who becomes sick. Then you have to choose somebody, right? Someone becomes sick, and you get to take their spot in this tournament.
So is it someone we want to become sick, or who we think we replace well?
Who you think you will replace well and can go on and win the tournament for, and the team that you want to play with. So you're kind of like wishing on. You're wishing on someone to become ill. No. Not flame. So it's where you can fill in the best. Cap. I'm going to go with you first, but you're on the spot. 16 teams. We can go to the groups and show Group A, B.
I think I know.
You think you know?
Yeah.
You've got an answer for us while we wait for this match, which is Vici versus
I'm gonna wish sickness on probably one of the greatest offlane players.
You wish sick
all time
on
universe. Definitely, I'm going back to EG.
You join EG, and you think? Do you think that you could replace Universe?
Oh God, no!
But the thing is, now you're fucking up the team. I mean,
oh well. Give me a scapegoat. I got mine.
But you think you'll get the furthest with him?
Yeah, absolutely. They have to carry my ass.
But you know, like, dude, Universe is so, like, awesome every game.
I know. He's like an awesome guy. I feel like terrible.
Are you sure you don't want to play like Team Aqua? Cap, like,
I mean, I want to get in the money, guys. Come on.
Okay, all right. God, who do you wish sickness on, and who do you replace? I mean, that's very greedy.
I was gonna go with EG as well. No,
you can go. I mean,
we're all casters and analysts. We sit in front of the camera all the time. We want attention.
How much fun would it be playing like?
We want to go far in the tournament.
Yeah, and playing with a team with like PPDs or captain, like that'd be a good experience.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So who do you wish sickness on?
I wish sickness on here. He's already old. He plays Earth Spirit. I'm sure he has it coming. Like
it just stays away.
He has it coming. I mean, I can play Earth Spirit. All right, like it's fine. I can play one Earth Spirit. Really? Yeah. Well, I just feel like I can play from watching other people play.
Do you think you'd be able to win?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pick me Earth Spirit.
They really send a ban on gods.
Exactly. Gods is like we're not going to ban our gods. We'll leave Earth Spirit in the pool.
Earth Spirit becomes the gods ban.
All right.
Hey,
got it.
Melanie. You wish sickness on?
Iceberg. They pick Zeus a lot. It would be easy.
You love your Zeus.
Yeah, it would. I just follow Godblack. So easy.
But you wouldn't understand their team con.
What? They just fight all the time. Have you ever played?
So they don't communicate. They just ping and go.
Yeah.
He understands.
You play on EU server. You should know. Come on.
Yeah, well, we've been playing on Perfect World servers, and
there is even a chat wheel emote for Zeus ult now. Okay, that goes across all languages. It automatically gets translated to my language. That's how easy it is. It's done.
Remember the same problem if they start target banning you though. The Zeus bans come out.
Yeah, there's invokers, OD.
Syndrin?
You're supposed to say that, not him.
Yeah,
don't let him take your host role away from you. He's already stealing Swindle's personality.
Yeah. I mean, how far do you think you'd be able to get Melanie on that? You think far?
Probably not, but that's just Spirit and
Okay. You like the name Team
And
Spirit.
you just want to
Team
play
Spirit
Zeus.
with no communication. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, ready. Alright, Syndrin, you wish sickness.
I think I would replace EGM on Alliance. I played a stand-in for them. I think they're really nice guys. I think I would fit into that team pretty well, personality-wise, and I could play as well.
Yeah, you're just such a really nice guy.
Got me. All right. No,
You stole my answer.
no. But anyway, I think it would be a pretty good fit playing that support role, and I think Ake plays the supports that I'm not so good at.
But then also, Ake plays so well, like controlling, the support role, or almost, you kind of just feel like, yeah, just tell me what to do, and then you can just do it.
It's a team that's very easy to feel at home in, I think, on that role, because the others are so integrated with what they're doing.
He keeps talking about like Alliance and their family. It seems like you just don't like your family. You just want to move in with Alliance.
I had the same pick for that kind of reason.
EGM?
Yeah, because it was just like,
Pick me silencer, let's go.
Yeah, he plays Silencer, that's true.
yeah. Let's play a little bit of silence. Ake tells me what to do, and he's so nice, Ake. Could never be mad at him.
What if you
Got those-
replace Pylai Dai and then they pick you Silencer?
Dude, actually, fuck, if I replace Pylai Dai, even with Eternal Envy, we'd win! I'd replace Pylai Dai.
That's your pick.
Yeah, definitely.
We
Like,
do this again, except with East.
I almost said MVP.
Everyone said like
MVP.
E, Alliance, Secret.
Kyo's hilarious. I'd love to put for like the novelty factor. I'm gonna replace like
land.
MP, play like carry for that team. Kyo goes mid and just carries you. Bottom hitting creeps, while Kyo just goes and kills people. That'd be fun.
and if I'm playing, where Pylai Dai was, I get to play with Puppy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Puppy, I played Puppy with him. He's like awesome at just like letting you know what's happening and what you're doing. So we could do like the whole communication team secret would be like explain it to me like I'm 5 strategy level, which I think might work not only for me to know what's happening. Like he wouldn't assume that I knew what's happening. Puppy would know. He'd be like, okay, I'm playing with Too Good. I'm gonna have to explain a lot of stuff, right? But he would be capable. And not only would that work for me, and I'd fit in, I think it would help with an Olympic.
I knew that was coming. I could see it like a mile away. I thought you were going to be like,
And therefore,
treats it that way with
the major championship won. And like, we would beat your team easily. Like we'd smash you in EG. Like,
absolutely not.
No chance. That is the dream team. Just gotta go talk to Puppy. Right, I'm off, guys. No, I'm not.
They tied James down to the
Tied me
chair.
down at production. Yeah. Not only are we not going to break. Okay. I actually think they're changing PCs for one of the teams, by the way. So I think I was told.
I think Ben's idea was good, though. We do it again with the Eastern teams. Game you just played. That's good.
I don't know. Maybe we should save it for another. We should actually go right and let the viewers stare at the screen. I'm not paid for this. Please donate. We're holding the major hostage. What's going on with my name? If you want to play it, you're more than welcome.
We should bring up the teams again, then. I think.
Alright. Yeah.
You don't know what
Sidra had a lot of fun.
I mean, I
It's
chose those
difficult to
teams
remember
not
everything
because
by
I had a choice between, Western and whatever you want to do.
You immediately shifted your pick the moment I gave you an alternative.
Yeah, but that's because you're smart, Syndrin.
I'll
You.
take it.
It was good. I've won lots of every time I think I have like 100% win rate. Pub games. It's like impossible to lose.
there's a team list for
It's
you.
called
buddy.
getting carried.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
MVP Phoenix for me. They've
You
got
would
one,
replace the entire team.
just the whole team. They've got. I don't know. Who would I be able to replace on there? Got. No, I don't think you can. I want to play with Febby. Febby's cool.
So Dubin?
You can't replace Doobie.
Doobie was
the captain.
playing really amazing.
Doobie's the
Yeah,
captain.
I can play something else. I can play.
MP's the carry. Play offline.
I mean, you don't really have to farm on MVP because they just go fight. So carry. We're also
Does
first
MP
place.
always play safe lane? They alternate mid and safe lane still, right?
They change
It depends a bit on the hero. He's mostly safe lane.
He plays Invoker though.
I think it's boring if we all choose MVP, but the thing is, it's like the only Eastern team that we think we would have good communication with. At least from my perspective, I think.
And it's fun. And it's fun.
Some of their players speak.
That'd be definitely though.
I think they.
yeah.
I think they speak better English on average than the other teams by far. You can definitely communicate.
Vici got.
Pings are
Yeah, this shows I saw
universal.
it.
Pings and chat wheel are universal.
Yeah, so you salty now. Go with MVP.
I think like MVP
Playing,
for me is just
playing with
so much
RTK
fun.
would be fun on LGD.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yelling,
Actually.
yelling
That would be fun.
I don't even know what he's yelling about half the
But,
time.
but
Just having him yell and you don't
the
understand.
thing about ROTK as a captain is like I think like when I watched his TI finals, TI4, and it was like kind of ROTK captain versus Zhao 8. It just felt like ROTK was this old war general that was really willing to sacrifice millions and millions of his people to win the war. And even though they kept coming back and going, sir, unfortunately this didn't work, and it's like he was just like, do it again, and that was like the finals of TI4 because they did the same strat every single game, and they kept on getting shut down, and he didn't adapt. ROTK, and I don't want to be one of those frontline cannon fodders for ROTK's wicked master plans, whatever they are. So I don't want to play with ROTK. I think he wouldn't give me, wouldn't let me farm.
Just replace ROTK. It was the rest of LGD.
I'd be the nice general. I value all your lives. Follow me.
I love you all too much, so we surrender. Lives have been saved.
I'm gonna go with Ehom.
Hey, they're loud.
I will replace Old 11.
As well, American. No hospital trip for you.
Further than they are.
That could be a problem. Are they really?
Yes. I am in constant.
I don't know why that's funny, but
Talking really helps.
Okay. Let's have Cap on the panel for an hour. Pain. Odds.
I think I want to play him. I'll play with Kyo. I played with him because he used to live in Australia and play there before he moved to Korea. So I think it'd be hilarious to go on team with.
I'll go with Shiki. I can wear board shorts and play Lina. And get carried by aggressive. Sounds like a good life.
Then you made your pick? I can't remember.
Did I?
I'm not sure.
I made a pick?
No. Oh, you said it would be boring if we all pick MVP. You were kind of leaning towards MVP Phoenix.
I think I'll take something else, then I'll probably go with Vici. The problem is, I think FY and Fenrir are such a cool duo to watch, and it's difficult to replace.
No, but you would be the, you'd buy Gem.
I think I would, if I played for Vici, I would definitely play the Fenrir role, that's for sure, in that team.
But with a Gem.
But with a Gem. That's
So
what I
also
think playing with Ice would actually. I think he's a great kind of character to have in your team.
I think you fit in that team. I think that's the
Yeah, he did great at the losing part.
I'll tell you what. Hey! But you're used to it, aren't you? You've been to TI, you played lower bracket.
So well. That was there, Ben.
That's very
Retired before.
Yeah. Well, it was
you could help him out.
Cool.
You've got the experience.
You regret?
Okay, so I'll tell you what. We're gonna take a break so we can all go off and talk to these teams about the possibility of transfer. Those of us that don't come back, we've got contracts. Very happy. But thank you for bearing with us here at the Shanghai Major presented by Perfect World. And of course, what is most important for us is really players get to play at the right conditions because it is such a huge tournament. So if it's swapping out PCs, whatever's going to happen, of course we will have those delays. We're never going to put the players at risk. playing their perfect game, because that's what they really need to do to get out of these groups in the top seed. So we'll take a break, and then we'll come back, and hopefully we'll be going into the lower bracket game shortly between Vici Gaming and Team Spirit. See you in a moment.
hero is missing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea what's going on right now in Shanghai, but I do know there's Dota 2. In the midst of the chaos, we have Dota to anchor us and keep us sane. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Winter. We've got Team Spirit taking on Vici Gaming. A quick refresher, this is a best-of-3 lower bracket match here in Group B. The loser will be dropped down and begin the larger main event bracket in the BO1s. They'll have to win 2 just to get into the BO3s. The winner will have 1 more shot at redemption in order to claw their way back to the winner's bracket. So with that, Winter, let's try to get our bearings here on this game. It has been probably an hour-and-a-half pause at this point. So looking at the drafts, looking at the way the teams are matching up, what are your thoughts? And actually, don't think, because we've got action here in the river. Off the bat, they're going to make the move here into FY. 2 hero chains comes out. Team Spirit looking for the early first blood, and they're going to get it on that squishy Crystal Maiden, now turning, perhaps, for more super. Going to be driven back by Godblack, so they will allow a potential aggressive maneuver here into the enemy jungle. Treant's going to usher Fenrir away, but it looks like in the end, Godblack is going to back off to his own big hip. Okay, Witzer, you're allowed to talk now.
Oh, they didn't expect the aggressive tri-lane from Team Spirit here. Or should I say aggressive dual lane from the Vici CK, leaving the Prophet to have a 1 versus 1 matchup against Tidehunter. They were not ready for that room fight there at bottom lane. And at top lane, however, Prophet also managed to grab the bounty rune at top. Team Spirit first blood, double bounty runes?
And off to a great start.
No, they didn't get the bottom bounty.
They got
rune.
1 bounty,
yeah.
but still a great start, obviously. And there's the Chen factor to worry about. Godblack does start with a smoke here, and he's bringing in a Centaur to the bottom lane. They may even look to make a move here. Seems like Team Spirit's getting aggressive. Ramsey's still only level 1, but this Crystal Maiden, very squishy, so FY is going to have to be safe. They move forward just a little bit. Morphling, not the easiest target.
Yeah, they are going to put a lot of pressure on this lane, and Morphling's not going to be able to farm as usual. And looking at the 2 other solo lanes as well, I think the other 2 matchups are also very favorable for Team Spirit. The Prophet Tide and that the Wind Ranger versus Amber. So the laning setup, really good for Team Spirit right now.
Yeah, Ice definitely struggling here in the top lane. He's been harassed very heavily. So overall, the CS looking pretty good early on for Team Spirit. We'll have the 2-minute rune spawning relatively soon. Godblack still parked out here in the bottom lane. They've got their level 2 in the Chaos Knight, and that might be the go time call. Yeah, FY tried to do a spot of dewarding here, but he is in danger as there is a dire observer ward that scouted him out. Godblack gonna move in. Nothing else will force the Crystal Maiden back. The aggression continues here from Team Spirit, but it is delaying the Chen zone level progression a bit, and they're not converting this into any actual kills. The Morphling still farming well, already 8 and 2, so FY. I'm pretty happy about that. They frostbite the Centaur Conqueror and really going to slow Godblack down, so he is in the end going to take over another creep.
Yeah, it seems like the Morphling, like you mentioned, is still having a good time. He's on par with the CK, has 1 more CS in fact, and he's going to pull ahead more as the creeps go towards his towers. And the other 2 lanes, the Tide is still doing quite well, but Prophet would start to get ahead when he completes his phase boost. Then the lane would start to become really hard for the Tide. Right now, so far, the Chen is choosing to sacrifice his own farm, and they get a pull onto burning here, get away from out. Chen is going to sacrifice full level progression just so that they want to be able to pressure the Morphling, but...
So, how are you expecting them to pressure? Because they're not getting kills right now. He's farming equally with the Chaos Knight. Is it pushing the tower? Should they be trying to focus more on killing the supports? What kind of pressure should we be seeing here from
I'm
Spirit?
not sure whether this is worth it though. Like, if you talk about the pressure I'm expecting, if you don't get any kills, I don't think it's worth it. Like, if they are going to commit the Chen at the bottom lane with the CK and the Wisp, I expect them to at least get kills. If they're not getting kills, I don't think it's worth it. PM is still killing the Chen creeps with a Frostbite.
And if you're just trading farm, a Crystal Maiden and a Chen's gonna bring a lot more to the table come the mid game. So it does seem a little odd, but Godblack, recognizing that, is gonna back his way off to the jungle now. Closing on the level 3, he does get a Wildkin.
There's another timing they can wait. They can wait for Afterlife to have level 6 and they fight at bottom, so he can actually assist with his ultimate. That would be the other timing that they can wait for.
Well, whether he goes back to the jungle or sticks around, it is coming. And the Chen is going to return immediately. He'll summon the Tornado. One lane we have not looked at really, or talked much about, I should say at all, is that middle lane, where Iceberg is just dominating. 18-6, Super doing pretty well considering the matchup at 12-2, but he is forced to grab another salve here to keep himself sustained in the lane, and is going to look for Rune. Had a haste earlier, now he'll bottle a bounty. Yeah. They actually get the double Rune spawn, and on that note, they are going to look for a kill mid. There's some potential here. Io does have a TP. Oh, we might see Always Want to Fly rotate in and turn this one around. They're already pressing forward. Iceberg does get caught. Immediate TP coming through. The chains are there as well. He's going to go for the TP out. The Io's there with the save attempt, and is going to be enough in the end. He TP all the way home to leave the Io in the mid lane, and Always Want to Fly maybe the one who pays for this. It's time for Afterlife to turn things around. Teleport in from the Nature's Prophet. He's going to isolate him with the Sprout. Gets the kill. Looking for a bit more. Super's in danger. Has no boots. He gets the superhero chain, but the Spirit almost finishes him off down to 45 HP. Is barely going to slide away. Even Birdie wants a piece of this action, but the Fairy Fire saves Afterlife. He can't finish the job, so they force out the TP from the Morph lane. Absolute madness in the middle lane, but Spirit, they take it all. And they even managed to leave their Chaos Knight to farm bottom during the midst of this.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Iceberg is farming top, so they got one kill. It's on the support.
Tower's taking a lot of damage in the top lane.
This is actually not really that great, you know, for them. So PG, despite giving up a support, is still getting a lot out of the map. And Afterlife right now, once again, TP is back to top lane, but I think Tide right now has assumed full control of the lane because Prophet, it always happens to Prophet when you TP away to help the other lanes. You can't really control your own lane anymore.
That's where you often see someone else take over the lane, but obviously nobody was in position to be able to do that.
Now they have the Nature's Wrath, so let's see whether they can actually make anything happen with it. So far I would say that all the time the champion at bottom lane hasn't really accomplished much for Team Spirit.
They're still leading here significantly when it comes to gold, but I think to your point, it feels like they could have done a lot more. Bottom lane, on Defender, they will go. They manage to isolate him, try to control him. The Nature's Prophet bounces through, they get the Venge kill, but it cost them an IO. Now hunting for Burning, he's trying to strength morph here, but I'm not sure it's fast enough. Ramses has another stun, slams him in the face, and that will be a second kill. 4-1 the score, but again, Ice up top. Been left alone, and the Lonely Mountain is going to take a tower here as well. Gets the last hit, 1600 gold Winter, so that potentially, it looks like probably a fast blink dagger could be coming out.
The timing, the Prophet is coming online, but at the same time, he's doing this at a price. Like, he's getting kills for his team, but Tide, on the other hand, is getting a lot as well. Like, he gets the tower. Not sure what he actually wants to go for.
Oh, Super's making a move in bottom. And as he does that, they also dive the tower, trying to isolate FY. They get the crusading kill, but reinforcements are arriving. Teleports are coming. They have the Ravage ready. Spirit grouping up for 3 heroes on top of that Ravage. They'll be punished. Always Want to Fly going down here in a matter of seconds. Afterlife will be next. Unless he can match the TP out, that's not going to happen. So Vici Gaming, quick counterplay there, get the 2 global heroes, and they shut down the aggression. Really overstayed their welcome there.
Yeah, there was like the Tide coming into the play with his Ravage, and he seems like he's going for Aether Lens after the Tranquil Boots. He needs like a mana item.
Yeah, he saved a lot of gold, and you know, normally we have seen sometimes go for the fast mech, but you always get the Arcane Boots if you're...
Yep, I mean, he just wants to have the sustain when he was laning against the Prophet earlier because he was taking a lot of damage from
mid lane. Find Iceberg. Super moves in. Chain's ready, hanging on to them for now. Doesn't want to see any TP shenanigans, and Iceberg kept alive. I Always Want to Fly. This kill is not turning out to be as easy as expected. Good control there on the tether, but it's simply not enough. The turn comes. Afterlife teleporting over the top. Sprout's appear super out of mana, has no remnants, could be in danger. That Sprout's going down, 3 seconds to go. They can do it. Auto tech, the Chun stuns coming in, an army of Mud Golems on the hunt. The secondary Sprout through, it also blocks Ice, and they continue pursuit. Now the Hadouken, again the boulder stuns from these pest Mud Golems, running Ice down, Spirit after Spirit, penetrating his armor, and eventually they ate Watermelon. Godlike just clipping level 6 on the back of this. is going to get the hand of gun off, which prevents the counter kill from Vici Gaming. Beautiful chain of events for Spirit.
Man.
Another 1,000 gold swing.
Always want to fly the man of the hour there, delaying the death of the Wind Ranger long enough so that the Prophet can have enough time to actually come in and get 2 kills there for his team.
For the Chen to rotate in as well. But everything just hit the timings there for Team Spirit.
Yep.
It works out beautifully.
Vici without the Ravage there was actually not able to fight. So Ice is actually going back for Grease on top of the Tranquil Boots. I mean, I guess it's still all fine. He's just
Radiant's
basically
middle
going to
tower
go
has
back for the
been
normal build,
denied.
just that he spent a good amount of cash on the Tranquils just for the laning phase.
Yeah, the way he itemized it first, it seemed like maybe he wanted to rush Blink, but then you're just a Blink Ravage and you cast 1 Anchor Smash and you're basically done. So he goes back for the Arcane Boats, going now into what appears to be a mech. They're expecting the Spirit push to come, obviously, and in order to fight into that, they don't really need initiation. They already have Ember to start fights, they have Morphling and Avenge who can, so it's more about sustaining through the fights, it seems, and see if the mech comes out in time to turn the tides.
Because they'll be up against the mech from the Chen in the near future, so Vici building their own mech
Smoke from Vici.
is gonna help them fight. So they're gonna smoke right now. Ravage is online, so they want to be able to gain some sort of advantage, place a deep ward in the enemy
Oh,
territory.
they just saw the Wind Ranger just for a second there. The smoke's gonna break. They get eyes on Iceberg, but the Chen's behind him. Can send it back if need be, and Super a bit slow on the Remnant cast there and just not in range anyway. Won't be able to find him, and this frees up the top lane. Uh-oh, perhaps they look for the push, but Vici still with 2 hero smokes are gonna move there, but they see the Crystal Maiden skating through the river. Courtesy of an observer ward up on the hill. And they know something's up, they're relocating. FY turns the other way. No, leave me alone! Not so fast, Crystal Maiden, down she goes. Easy picks there, and the first relocate. The momentum is really going now for
This is
Spirit.
looking really, really good for Team Spirit. All of a sudden, they get pigs, they get towers. Like the movement of the team with the Prophet and the relocate is starting to take a toll on Vici, because Vici want to fight as 5 heroes.
Fishing with the Shackle bottom. Iceberg does have a double damager, and even through the Strength Morph might have been enough for a kill, but it's just not in range because they deforested this entire bottom lane. 4 trees. Even they're struggling. So they will hang on to the Morph lane. They defend the tower. It does prompt a TP reaction out from Ice, and meanwhile, looking at Spirit's item progression, we see the Chen now building towards his own mechanism. Nature's Prophet going to be grabbing the drum, so when this patch first dropped, Winter, Team Spirit, most of their games were very... We've seen the panel talk a lot about fast-paced Dota. They were one of the fastest teams, picking Lycan a lot, Prophet a lot, going for heavy push stretch, trying to end games around even like TI4 era paces, sub 20 minutes at times, and not sure they're quite that committed to that strategy, but they definitely want to go for these objectives early on.
They have that sort of power, but at the same time, if the game goes late, they have Wind Ranger and they have CK, so they have a backup plan. Not like a all.
They have the insurance.
Yeah, get the insurance policy.
Vici, unless they get a lot of farm here on the Ember, don't really have the best solutions for a CK.
Look at their network, they are really falling behind right now. Ember is like the least farm among the 3 cores, the Tide, the Ember, and the Morphling. And if you compare it to Team Spirits, the Prophet and the CK are just leading by so much. There's a power goal, the kills they've been getting, the relocate and the Wrath, the Nature's Wrath. So Vici has to be able to fight around their Ravage. I think that's their best bet. They fight around the Ravage, get a mech on the Tide, and try to avoid fights as much as they can when they don't have the big spell.
Even though they have the Morphling and Ember, and on paper it looks like more of the traditional late game lineup, it feels like they do have to team fight.
It's going to be difficult for them to farm, because when it comes to mid game and CK probably has just one item like an armlet, and they have to relocate, it's always going to be very dangerous for you to farm around the map, because they have so much to be able to kill you with relocate and the proper TP in.
And they can't kill a CK with armlet without the whole team, and certainly not without that Ravage. Not at this stage.
This CK is going to be really, really hard to deal with, and at some point Team Spirit are going to be able to force the enemy team to split up enough that they can also get Roshan to be on the dire side.
Chi starting to clear out the Ancient stack for Ice. One of the later Ancient stack clears you'll see, but they've been very busy for Ice to try and control things. So it will be his mech. There is a drums now complete on Super. Not the biggest items, but these are items that allow them to take fights. And the way Spirit's also gearing up, it seems they'll come just in the nick of time. Goblak's mech not quite yet complete.
Yeah.
Berg's still working on his Aghanim Scepter on the Wind Ranger, and up top you can see Ramses hiding in the trees. Still does not quite have the armlet.
They do not have any vision, so they are not sure where the enemy team is. They are thinking that, oh, Vici has Ravage. They want to smoke, they want to pick us off. So they are playing extremely safe, but
I mean, honestly, this is Vici normally is smoking right about now, but in this case they're not. So unfortunately for Spirit, the read not on point this time around.
I mean,
but it's a good read based on how Vici normally
They're just playing
plays.
safe, so no vision. You can't really try and be too risky against the Tide there. And because Super was also playing like he looked like he was feeling really safe at the top lane. He was playing quite far up, so Team Spirit had the impression that this guy doesn't look like he's alone.
We're fortunate here because Iceberg has now picked up an Invisor and headed top.
Yep, so this is now the timing of Vici. They have the mech completed a little bit faster than Goblot. Goblot is still 500 gold short before he gets his mech. So they want to make sure that they utilize this timing to actually get as much objectives as they can, as much towers as they can.
Pace of the game is overall slowing down now. Not really seeing that helter-skelter aggression for hero kills.
Yeah, and right now because Team Spirit realized that Ravage our mech is up, we do not want to take a fight right now, so we get as much trade as we can. Any trade is fine for us until we get our mech and we feel that we can actually take a fight.
They do have a glyph available, wondering if they're even considering a defense, and in fact 3 heroes sprinting towards the middle lane now. Spirit are hot to trot, perhaps gonna try and defend this tower. Still the big bully in front. There's the armlet timing. Now complete the mech, only 130 gold short. I mean, momentarily. And with those 2 items, you would expect Spirit to ramp up the aggression. Burning has gone for a Dominator in the meanwhile, so he's going more economy Winter and doing a pretty good job of keeping up, considering the amount of pressure his lane was under early. Seems Vici may try to basically play that more forward protect one with the Ember push a little bit, but also ready to join the fight. The Morphling primarily trying to pull ahead and turn that work.
Yeah, this build is just more focused on jungle farming and leave the lane for your supports or whoever else that needs to catch up, because right now it's not only the Morphling that needs the space, the Ember needs the space as well. He can't be doing everything, so he needs to be more focused on jungling, so he's giving the lane to the Ember.
The one thing though, they don't really have the best catch right now. Until Windranger gets like a Blink Dagger or Shadow Blade, or an Orchid on the Prophet, which it seems he's not going to go for, at least not quickly. Tough to catch a Morphling or an Ember.
I mean, the Prophet can definitely go for the Orchid this game. I think it's pretty good against the Ember and the Morphling, both those heroes, and you ideally want to force them to go defensive items, so slows down their progression on getting aggressive items. So it could be a good item selection for Afterlife this game. But we
Flash is coming mid. Ramses poking his head out there, waiting for the Windranger to get in position. Iceberg is going to bait them out, takes them away to the top side, while meanwhile they're going to move in on the Morphling. Burning able to waveform back, will survive. Windranger finding that shackle on Super, isolate him, connects on the power shot. Remnant back right as they pull in Iceberg. They want to force out the Ravage. They will, as the Hand of God ready. Opposite now completely negates the Ravage damage. They move on to Super, trying to gain him back in. Does he have another Remnant? He gets swamped out to safety. Remnant's a little bit farther away. Will end up surviving. They keep him alive, but it's going to cost them support. Crystal Maiden down as well as the Venge. Morphling barely able to escape, so in the end, they hang on, and they do get the last hit on the tower. It goes the way of Burning.
Oh, can they get Roshan
but with,
as well?
Yeah, with Ravage down, how do you fight into that pit?
So Afterlife is indeed going for the Orchid build, which is really, really good. So Roshan would be claimed by Team Spirit as well. I guess you put it on the CK. Yes, it's your strongest hero now. So it would give him much more opportunities to be really aggressive and just run in and tank for his team.
And Afterlife is going Orchid now, as we see one Oblivion Staff complete. Quarterstaff and Robe already grabbed as well. They're trying to throw Ice into the pit. They don't have the Ravage, but they're looking to take the fight anyway. Always want to fly low. The Remnant damage hits them up, kills them off. So they lose the Wisp. Start of the fight. The Aegis hits the deck. Immediate buyback from Always want to fly. He's going to rejoin it. Windranger grabbing the Aegis. Sounds like trapped within. He's low. He's going to drop. Vici Gaming taking the big 5v5 fight without the Aegis, without their Ravage, and coming out on top. They pop the Aegis. Always want to fly. This might be a dieback. He's going to get blasted by Birdie. Ramsey's up on the cliff. He's trying to TP out of the CK. At least will escape, but always want to fly. That tether needs it now. Not going to happen. Drops as well. A massacre in the pit. They get rid of the Aegis. They kill the IO twice. They kill the Chen as well. That's 4 kills. And overall, it looks like a big win there for Vici Gaming.
I really did not expect them to be able to take the fight without the Ravage, but they were able to do so because a lot of the big spells were on cooldown. The Phantasm,
Hand of God was on cooldown.
Yeah, Hand of God, so they were able to enough damage to actually still win the fight, because Team Spirit didn't have most of their damage from Phantasm. And CK was also not at full HP because he was tanking the Roshan there. A good read by Vici, understanding they could actually take a successful team fight. And here comes Afterlife. He has his op completed already.
Ice. He could have gotten the Greaves now, but he's going to go back for the Blink, so Potentially they can silence him, ignore him, try to kill some other heroes, and of course, now they've got some lockdown to deal with Super.
I mean, if you think about it, he's gonna be able to get his Ravage off regardless.
It's more about, does he get it off at the right time?
Yeah, you need to be able to get it off at a good position and at a good timing. So obviously the Blink Dagger helps more. I mean, it's still really good to complete Grease at some point in this game against the Orchid. So, but I would say the Blink is definitely much more important right now for his team.
Yeah, he'll have both soon enough. Ice, right up there with the Burning as a leader in net worth for the team. So looking at the way the game's progressed, Winter, not the most satisfying Roshan fight for Spirit. They hold an advantage here, but considering how the game looked, it's not that overwhelming.
That was actually
what is the next step for them to try and really seize control?
That was really bad. They were actually quite far behind before, but the Roshan fight put them back in control. So for Vici and right now Team Spirit, I think that they need to focus on trying to get pickoffs the map, try to use their relocate and Prophet's mobility to get pickoffs, and try to just go for the next stage where they get their BKB so that they can actually combat the Ravage, especially on the CK. I think he's the most important that needs to get the BKBs, and obviously the Wind Ranger at some point as well.
Yeah, he gets a BKB, he dodges the Ravage, and he's basically immortal in these fights.
Not only the Ravage, think about it, like look at the Venge, the Ember, and the CM. Like all those heroes actually...
The E-Blade actually as well. For the first time in forever, we're not going to see Lincoln Spear build, but hold that thought. Ramses is moving into Blink Damage forward from Isolate, trying to isolate the Wisp, bring it down off the bed. They have managed to control Ramses for now, even through the Phantasm, yet to get a kill. Io down. Oh, well, decapitating the Crystal Maiden, turning back for a bit more. Perhaps not ravaging him, is going to end up causing them burning. Held in position by his son, the 10th here. He's arrived. The Ghetto Io works his magic, suddenly cleaves down the Tidehunter. Off with his head as well, and that Mace of Doom just keeps on rolling. Gonna pull back one more. The max drops. It's a triple for Ramses, and it feels like he was a one-man army there. The Ember running away. They decided if they kill the backlines, the CK could be dealt with, and boy, Winter, were they wrong about that.
That was the reason why they lost the fight at the Roshan because they didn't have Phantasm. That was such a huge difference when they had Phantasm on, and not to mention...
And the Ravage didn't hit any of the Phantasm illusions.
The Ravage only was used behind on the Wisp alone?
It was the Wisp and either the Prophet or the Wind Ranger, but it was two of the backliners. They kill the IO, burning waveforms forward to do it, and then suddenly CK kills the enemy backliners.
You know the CK feels like Death Prophet when he has his ultimate out. It's so difficult to combat him. He's always so played based around his ultimate. When he has his ultimate, he's just extremely strong. Even though Team Spirit lost the previous team fight, but they were still able to actually take this team fight successfully.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Death Prop because the ult's really long. It's 140 seconds. You don't get Octarine on CK. At least not at this stage of the game, so...
Maybe someone will try it and make it work.
I mean, I love Refresher CK later
because
on.
if you think about the hero...
The ult is essentially...
The ult is just basically what he needs.
The ult is the hero.
The ult... Yep, to a certain point, yes, the ult is actually...
You get a Manta, it's kind of a ghetto ultimate, but those illusions do not hit as hard as the Phantasm. Alright, here we go now. BKB's up, Iceberg has completed an Aghanim Scepter.
Not to mention something important, they got some... Oh wait a minute.
They're moving in, they try to make a dive here. Tidehunter able to jump away just in time.
Yeah, he got lucky in the last fight. He spawned an extra illusion from his Phantasm.
Ah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Something that we always forget because it's like a new addition to the ultimate.
So the relocate barely off the mark there. Ice lucky to get away, but here comes the chase forward. Spirit trying to pick up the 2 hills. Shackle! Vici Gaming getting overrun now. Ember dies in a cloud of blood, and next on the list will be Burning. Blasted away by the Prophet ult. It's a slaughter in the Vici Gaming side of the map. Every last hero on Spirit survives. They rushed on to the tier 2. These fights have been catastrophically bad for Vici Gaming.
And at this stage, they do not have enough AoE to deal with the CK illusions, and that fight was not even with the CK ultimate. It was just basically them getting overrun by that 2-man shackle from Iceberg there.
He's been quiet this game, but he came through when they needed him.
He had quite a good laning phase against the Ember, but that was his first big play for his team. Before that, it was just the Prophet and Chen, and obviously the relocate from the Wisp played by Always 105 making plays for his team. But right now, Team Spirit looks set to get this first set of melee.
Hey, what do you know? He got the extra illusion again.
Wow, okay.
Alright, well, that's great for demolishing the enemy base. So suddenly a Rax Poor Vici Gaming will be on the back foot here in game number 1. It's a best of 3, but the way this one appears to be headed, see Vici Gaming having to fight their way on match point 2 games in a row. They hope to advance.
And it's starting to feel like having the Ember and Morphling together on the same team was just way too greedy for their like the tempo is just way too slow. And Team Spirit, having the Prophet and Chen, their tempo is really quick. They always want to fight.
And there was room to improve maybe the early laning movement, and they still got a lot out of the offlane for Tidehunter,
we still thought
it just didn't matter.
The Chen didn't actually accomplish at bottom, but the timing is still really quick, and Vici's weakness is we have to fight around Ravage. When we don't have Ravage, we cannot fight. And whereas for Team Spirit, yes, CK ultimate is really important for them, but at the same time, if you look at all the other heroes, everyone doesn't need to rely on their ultimates, they can just fight whenever. And CK without ultimate is still a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, he has the Rift, he's still contributing to his team.
Another BKB complete now as Afterlife will grab one, and they're going to relocate in. They find Fenrir with a long range crowd connects, and
this is the threat of the Prophet and relocate. It's just so difficult for support to play with when you're behind, because you have to go ward, and
you don't have your own wards a lot of the time. You don't have vision on them.
You're not sure if it's safe, but then you have to do it because you don't have vision.
There's no tower for your team to TP to either, so even if your team knows the gank's coming, it's harder to get in position. And well, it is only Avenge, but yet another kill, and Spirit momentum continues to pile up.
They have to rely right now on burning, to get pickoffs, so that they can actually buy enough time for their team to farm up. Because right now,
who are you killing? Chen's too tanky, 1400 health with Mech and Hand of God. Wind Ranger as an egg.
With Glimmer Cape, so
Wisp is too tanky. DK obviously you're not killing.
No,
He's got a Reaper.
I think you can only try to kill the Wisp. Like you need to waveform in, give him a couple of right clicks before you drop your nuke on him. And you need dust for that as well because of the Glimmer Cape.
Basically, we've determined he needs to kill heroes, and there's basically no good target.
He has to try.
But he must try.
I don't think there's any way around it. He has to try to get pickoffs.
Well, the thing is, it's not like Super can create space, so it falls to the Morphling. Tidehunter's just not that type of hero. You can't waste the ult for a pickoff at this stage, and thus Vici Gaming find themselves in quite quandary. And we hit the 25 minutes.
They are in a very precarious position right now. Like one more mistake means the game is just over for them. Right now, they have to be able to win the next team fight, but
top lane? FY also TPing out.
For Team Spirit right now, it's just about getting all the towers, the outer towers, and wait for the next Roshan and go for the high ground. I think with that timing, it's the best timing for them. It's the safest way of doing and executing it.
Oh, a record-breaking Chaos Knight performance. I think not too surprised to see it, given how well he's done. 8-0 on 6, 160 CS. The amount of aggression he's put on the map. Been impressive.
They are playing really impressive with this lineup. It's more like the pace, I'm really impressed by the pace. How fast they're actually playing the game. Like, there's not one moment that you feel like they're lacking Vici Gaming. Like, even when they feel like, oh, they have their race, can't fight them, but they're still doing something. A power trade, they're trying to place wards.
Top lane, they're making their move already. They get the silence off on Super, and they pull him back in with the kills. They the stun comes through 3 seconds, and it doesn't matter that he has a haster, and he's dead as well.
Miss your hit, Super. Battle Fury ain't gonna save you now. Oh my god, this is looking really
Iceberg is also moving in. He's got an invis. More kills, more death for Vici, and it just keeps on getting better.
It's falling apart, Gorman, for Vici Gaming. And right now, it seems like this Rex in dire danger right now for Vici Gaming, the top lane.
They march forward. Spirit, written off by Capitalists as the worst team in the tournament, are about to take a game off of a team that many thought were the best. Vici Gaming are at least on that short list. They will kill off the Tidehunter Illusion now. Moving forward for the tier 3 tower. They'll bring it down. They look for the melee racks. This will be their second lane. And that range tracks mid looks awful tasty. They'll leave some illusions behind. Hack away at the range. They'll get that too. Vici trying to rat with burdening on the Morphling, but he looks rather lonely and ineffective right now. You can see Afterlife doing his job as the Prophet, pushing in the bottom lane. Can't be killed by the shotgun unless he's really slow to react. Thus can be very aggressive.
Can't even kill the Prophet.
As the Morphling, who's had a pretty decent game overall in terms of farm, you're in trouble.
You're in a lot of trouble.
Would it be fair to say that their home is also in trouble?
Yes, their home is already in trouble. Just look at their base.
But I'm not feeling it.
Not feeling.
You have to be played for Vici to really give the emotion to it.
Look at their situation right now. They have to wait for Ember to farm another item, and they have to rely on the Morphling to get pickoffs, which
CK has a heart. CK has 15 armor, 3,600 health.
And the Wisp behind him.
God save you if he gets an illusion room.
Good luck killing the CK.
God save Vici Gaming should he find an illusion room. Bottom lane, Jackal. Nice connection here by Iceberg. The setups continue, and the kills just keep on piling in.
This game is just out of control. There's nothing Vici Gaming can do right now. They might have to use the buyback. Team Spirit is going to try and force it. 35 seconds before Phantasm comes online. Hunter still has Rabbit, so they're gonna be able to force Morphing to buy back here.
It's the CK rushing in. He's looking for openings. Ramses knows only one way right now, and that is forward, beating away at the tower. He's tanky, has the BKB, might need a little bit of assist here from Complex. They're gonna try and maybe send it back out. BKB, they turn in the middle of the fight, just burning, definitely trying to burst down Goblin, can't quite do it, and now Iceberg turns. They swap him back out, get that Morphblade out to safety, try to keep him alive, but he has already quit his buyback, can't afford to lose him twice, and career against Clobber. That's like 900 damage crit from Ramses, and FY stands in the middle of all. Pops the ultimate is doing decent damage. They've held on to the Ravage. Vici Gaming are turning it. Goblet being forced back. Ramses in danger. Always want to flash here to try and keep him alive. The armlet toggles desperately at that, but his IO's about to come. No! Oh, he gets out. The relocate saves him. Now the question is, does anybody come back with this little old IO? Do these old friends stick together, or do they sacrifice the ball? They're bringing them both back, and they're moving in. They feel like Vici Gaming have blown their load, and they can turn this one. They pull in one. They start to get to work here. Iceberg rejoins the fight, and it seems Spirit on round 2 might just be able to turn this on its head. Burning, already buying back once, can't afford to die again, and he's slowly working out. Always want to fight, kills off the IO. Ember buys back as well. Madness in the bottom lane. Somebody win the fight already. Ramses gets stunned, locked out and controlled. Finally he'll drop. That's the beyond godlike streak, and they didn't even crack the tier 3. The tier 4s are under siege though, and that ends up being a massive win for Vici Gaming. Granted they had to buy back, but they hang on and they avoid the mega creeps.
Pretty good for Team Spirit because they were able to force the buyback, but they were just too confident there. They could have just left the Wisp to die, but they decided that, okay, we're gonna try to fight with our CK.
I like that. That's a great love story.
And you know, and Iceberg was like, he was already out of that, and choice him. Okay, guys, we're doing this. I'm going back in. Oh, well.
You gotta stand by your lover.
Yep.
And they did.
I mean, I don't even blame them because of the position they're in. They're just so far ahead. And Afterlife here doing some cliff jungling, you know, why not? Why not?
They've also got a Mjolnir now they can throw on the main CK in the next fight. So, as you pointed out, I mean, technically, gold win for Vici Gaming, but it's a relatively slight one, and immediately Spirit just go back to pushing out the lanes. They've still got the map control advantage here.
That fight was
and they can slow the game down if they need to.
That fight was just like Iceberg like being really patient with Ravage. He waited the BKB from Ramses out, and obviously the CM ultimate as well, combined with the Ravage, just dealt too much damage to the whole team of Team Spirit. And they have to be really careful not to fall into that trap again if you're Team Spirit.
It seemed they were a little indecisive. They let Ramses lose about half his health.
They were just
he walks back.
They were just a bit too relaxed because they were in such a...
I mean, who wouldn't be? Let's be honest. When your CK is just running around decapitating everybody on the enemy team, and he's not even the most farmed hero.
But after that, you know, after that fight, it's like a wake-up call for Team Spirit. They can actually still win a fight, so we have to be very careful and patient with how we use our BKBs. We must make sure that every time we pop our BKBs, we have to kill heroes. Can't just run around and just be really...
And if you're gonna fight, then, you know, might as well BKB and go in right away, not lose case health, sort of back away, and then try to turn and take the fight.
Yeah, as long as...
We'll see if they're more decisive.
Team Spirit do it properly, and he gets another...
Oh, 5 TKs. They're tanky too. Ice trying to deal with them there with the Anchor Set, but already the creeps come marching in. He's not going to be able to hold this Ravage forever. He gets Silent Sun controlled, and there's a 2-hero tackle on the backline. Finally pops the Ravage, but Afterlife BKBs, and Ramses just takes to it. Iceberg's absolutely fine, and they quickly slaughter the Rax. And mega creeps, and momentarily Vici Gaming are going to be playing for throne defense. Fenrir down, Ramses turning, gets nuked down by the Morphing a little bit, but they can't pump. Now he's forced to wave back, the tackle's gonna follow him! Ice! While he's able to crack it up, Burning's not so lucky! Super's trapped in the crowd, that's 4 dead! It's a massacre, Vici Gaming cleaned up and taken out. Spirit dominant, a slow laning stage, and then things dropped off a cliff.
Spirit with a strong spirited performance that, man, the whole team shines so well, like always wanna fight with the early game stage with his Wisp keeping in. like even though he did not save Iceberg at one point, but he managed to delay. Like it was so crucial in the early game that he delayed the depth and bought enough time for his team to come in to get all the return kills. And not to mention, like, tempo of the game was so quick because the whole team played as a unit very well, and